Hi everyone, this is Alejandro Cremades, and today we're going to be talking about ideas on how to write a pitch deck. So before we get started, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and this way you will never miss out on any of the videos that we roll out every week. So a pitch deck is one of the most important things that you have to put together in order to get money, in order to get out there, in order to pitch investors, and really to convince them to invest in you and to invest in your business. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking it down to you. We're going to show you some of the different things to get inspired and to really nail it when it comes down to creating your pitch deck. So without further ado, let's get into it. So one of the best things that you can do is research other pitch decks. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. You can actually go to the program like the Inner Circle that I actually have with my different members, where we show them all the different pitch decks from some of the most successful companies. You can also go on websites like SlideShare. You can even see on LinkedIn what people have shared and stuff like that. Even there's places like Business Insider where you can see some of their breakdown on pitch decks that they do, where they comment and so forth. And that's going to be super helpful so that you can see what has worked for other companies. So you may want to take a look at some of the companies that have built pitch decks in your specific market, maybe in direct competitors or direct competitors, and see how they framed things, because that's going to help you and guide you when creating your own pitch deck. So think about putting the pitch deck like a story, because storytelling is everything. Remember that investors are investing in the future, in the possibility. They're not so much investing in historicals, in your present or in your past. So for this reason, the best way to think about this is like a movie. Like every single slide is a chapter. It's a chapter of that book, or it's a section of that specific movie. And that's how you want to do it. You want to have the right type of flow, the right type of flow on the information and the structure on how you're putting those perhaps 15 to 25 slides, because that's all you got to really nail it. And by the way, if you want to really get inspired as well on perhaps the structure and the flow, you can access via the link below on the pitch deck template that founders are using around the world to raise millions. You may also want to use a professional copywriter, because the linguistic, you obviously don't want to add a lot of text, because you want to have that balance with the right visuals, because the investor is skimming through the presentation, but at least the language that you use and that text, it needs to make complete sense. Avoid having typos, grammar issues. So especially if you are a foreigner like me, and you come to a place like the US and you want to pitch US investors, you want to make sure that it's looking good, the language, that there's no grammar issues. It's like when you send your CV or resume to a company and it's all types of typos and issues on it's just not a good look. So at least maybe get a copywriter or someone that can review the deck to make sure that there's nothing crazy from a grammar or a typo perspective. Follow the money. I'm not kidding you, but the number one slide that investors spend the most amount of time on is the financials. They want to know that you have a clear understanding of money in and money out, and how you're projecting that over the course of time. So with that in mind, you want to perhaps have someone that is financially savvy that can guide perhaps those slides. It's not about putting a screenshot of your financial model where those numbers are essentially created and just putting it into your slides. You can't do that, because you need to put it in a way in which investors can digest it very easy. Maybe what you can do is break it down in 3 or 4 slides where you're walking them through the perhaps the numbers, the revenues, the customers, all of that good stuff in a way that they can get right away. Also, you should work with an advisor. Whether consultants, whether that is people from perhaps an accelerator or an incubator program that you've joined, but you need to work with people that can advise you and guide you, and that hopefully they've actually done this themselves, so that they are able to help you in avoiding making stupid mistakes that maybe they actually made themselves. So this is going to help you in really optimizing for time which is great, and then also in being able to understand what you need to put into those slides. Start long and concise. So what you're gonna do is, if you start long, maybe you create like a pitch deck of like 40 slides, then what you could do is you could start trimming down. You could start cutting down on the number of slides without obviously cutting into the story. You can then cut a little bit on the language and the amount of text that you're using and adding more images. But if you start long, that's going to allow you to then trimming it down and to really get the essence, like the best out of that presentation that is going to come across in a very powerful way towards the investor. Maybe one thing you could do is even grab your own business plan, which is more like the written version, which is going to be a bunch of pages, and really creating with that a pitch deck. And then you start reducing the amount of text and adding more visuals, and then reducing the amount of slides that you have in the presentation. Also, always start with the customer. I can't stress enough how many times I have seen an entrepreneur that goes with their pitch deck to pitch an investor. Maybe they're in the conference room or in the boardroom. They start talking, the investor is with their feet up, checking their email, whatever that is. And then all of a sudden, when they start to talk about the customer, the data that they collected from them, all of a sudden everyone is paying attention. So you want to always start with the customer. You want to know what kind of problem are you resolving? What is the solution? Who are the people that you're going to go after? What kind of validation you already got? Those are some of the critical components that you're going to be putting and including in your pitch deck, and perhaps dividing that into different slides to really make it pop. Access library of resources out there, whatever that is, but inspiration is going to be everything to really write this pitch deck. Also remember that those investors, they always have concerns. And that is what separates you and the money. So you want to know what kind of concerns do they have. Speak with people out there. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because that's going to help you in really putting right away on that pitch deck what they are looking for. In many instances, when you give the pitch deck, you're not going to be able to see their body language, their reaction towards it. Maybe they even forward it to a colleague of them or to a friend of theirs. You're not going to be there. So for that reason, you want to make sure that you are at least trying to capture as many solutions as possible to whatever concerns that they're gonna have towards a business like yours. So hit a like on this video, also leave a comment and let me know what kind of ideas you have going on, and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on all the videos that we're rolling out every week. And if you're raising capital, send me an email at alejandro@pantheraadvisors.com. I would love to help out. Thank you so much for watching.